As we've touched on, details about the suspect are limited right now because of Idaho laws on how information in a case is released. So yes, there are a lot of questions that will need to wait for answers until the legal process plays out. But one thing that was confirmed by Moscow Police Chief James Bryan, as we just told you, Bryan Kohberger had been a teacher's assistant and graduate student in the criminology program at Washington State in Pullman. Now, Washington State is only 15 or 20 minutes away from the University of Idaho in Moscow. Law enforcement was seen on campus at WSU going through that office we talked about and at the nearby campus apartments looking there. This afternoon, I spoke with Washington State journalism professor Matt Loveless about the situation at Washington State and the thought that a teacher, a student from the area, is responsible for killing these four. We began our chat talking about the feel on the Palouse. Does this bring relief or further complicate it all?
Certainly from some of the officers who I've known for 15 years before this incident, just a sense of relief. Today is a good day. That was from Police Captain Roger Lanier with Moscow. He just goes, today is a good day. And you could just see that relief, community-wide, law enforcement, everybody around here.
Matt Loveless is a journalism professor at the Murrow School at Washington State University. He has navigated being a journalism professor in the midst of incredible tragedy while also reporting himself. Loveless captured these shots of police on campus at Wazoo earlier, where they searched an office connected to the suspect, Bryan Kohberger.
Well, when the news broke that it was a WSU graduate student, certainly that sent a little bit of a personal shock to me. First thing I did was I came up to campus and I went there. He's got an office in Wilson Short Hall, and that building is closed down. Now, some context for that, we're at reduced operations for this week. And so just because of the holidays, most buildings are closed. I'm in the Murrow building right now. The doors are unlocked. So generally speaking, we can still get inside. They have that locked down. But just thinking about the fact that he, just a few hundred yards away from where I'm sitting talking to you now, this is my office, talking to people who work on campus, fellow faculty members, just the thought that he could have been here even before this happened. And certainly the unanswered question, which I posed right at the end of the press conference, is, did he come back to school? He was a graduate student. And, I'm not passing on any reports. I don't know for sure, but we want to know, did he come back to class? Did he finish out the semester? Was he here locally? That's sort of like a lingering, I don't know, call it eerie feeling among all of us who teach here. And who knows, walked by him. What groups was he a part of here in town? Social groups. Did I play next to him, having a drink at Rico's? All those little things that sort of infiltrate your brain when you worked in the same place as the guy. After 7 weeks of internet sleuths going nuts about who's here and who did what. I mean, that has been a shocking revelation for today, even though it's not entirely impossible. This is one of the largest employers in the Palouse, and so stands a reason that he could have been here. But yeah, it's just wild to think about.
What was the scene at the apartment like for you? Is it pretty calm and quiet, or what was that like?
Yeah, fairly calm. Few members of the media there. What appeared to me to be a handful of residents from other units, just sort of standing outside, watching things going on. There wasn't a huge presence there. I mean, it's one of those apartment complexes where there's like a basement level and stairs to the first floor and second. We're full of those here at WSU. And so we just couldn't see much going on. They were taking some things out of the apartment and sort of putting it on a little mezzanine there. Weight off the shoulders for sure. And so I think to your question, it's just that, yeah, I think that there's an overwhelming sense of, I don't know if it's closure, because it certainly isn't that. Like, there's a lot left to figure out about this case, but it feels like the first time in a long time that there's been sort of a milestone other than reports of a Hyundai Elantra and, a few extra timeline details. This really feels like the first break in the case in large degree. And so, relief.